We start off with local news. Bronx residents communicated their concerns to the New York City Comptroller in a recent gathering. Our BronxNet reporter, Arlene Makoko, has the story.
These residents from the Wakefield section came prepared for the New York City Comptroller's Sanitation and Property Tax Town Hall at the Albert Tuitt Senior Education Campus, located at 921 East 228th Street.
People come and they put their personal garbage. You have the homeless going through, papers scattered all over the place.
Some of the problems were new and others needed to be revisited, like this one from a resident who lives directly next to the school that has a noise vent directed at her window.
I can't sleep at night.
Familiar with the problem, principal of the school, Zenobia White DeCruz, shared she mentioned this to an engineer before COVID who came to muzzle the sound, but with COVID, attention may have been divided in monitoring its progress.
I'm glad she mentioned it again. I definitely will revisit again. We'll definitely talk to the custodian.
And with property taxes a major concern, District Manager of Community Board 12, George Torres, shared the homeowners are here to get informed.
People are worried that, that equates to higher tax bills and property bills for the constituents, but the city has a cap on that, so it doesn't accelerate as quickly as most people think, which is always a good thing. But it's always good for people to be in the know.
The tax treatment of homeowners in New York City is very inequitable.
Comptroller Lander, in using this graph, outlined that homeowners in Southeast Queens, Staten Island, Eastern Brooklyn, and the Northeast Bronx pay a higher tax rate than others across the city, and it's something he'd like to see change.
What we're trying to do is communicate that we can make changes. There is a reform proposal, and if we can build a citywide coalition, then we can make that change. It's going to be hard work. We got to get change in Albany. We got to get change at City Hall. But change isn't going to happen if we don't organize together, do town halls like this. And so that's what we're trying to do tonight. And a lot of good questions and answers, but very broad support for property tax reform.
Meanwhile, Burns promised to work with each resident on the issues raised, including a growing number of cases involving garbage being dropped off in vacant lots.
It's a dumping in areas that have been deserted. It's a dumping alongside of the New England Three-Way, which goes through the 12th District. It's a dumping that's happening around that area around Co-op City.
Proposing the installation of cameras to these areas, Burns shared she's prepared to address all the complaints raised.
They will get dispatched to enforcement, to collections, to our derelict vehicles unit, to our lot cleaning unit, and each of those different parts of sanitation will dig in and see what we can do to help all of the constituents tonight.
And for overflowing garbage bins along White Plains Road, she's encouraging the public to call 311 to arrange for a pickup. In the Wakefield section, Arlene Makoko for BronxNet.
And thank you, Arlene. In other news, the pandemic has impacted the people and businesses across the globe as millions continue to experience layoffs as well as furloughs and reduced hours. This leaves high school students who are having a hard time finding a career very perplexed. The Dr. Richard Izquierdo Health and Science Charter School held a career day for its students and had an opportunity to try to assist them. Our BronxNet reporter, Carrie Moody, has the story.
It's career day at Dr. Richard Izquierdo Health and Science Charter School here in the Bronx.
Today we're having an amazing career day, and we have about 35 speakers from different professions that are here to share with our scholars what they do and allow them to ask questions. This is so important because some scholars maybe are unsure what they want to do, or they want to get some more information so they can get to speak to actual people who are in these careers right now. We have folks from animal rehabilitation, we have doctors, we have political staff, we have an attorney general, we have folks that work at urban health plan around food insecurity. So these are people that work for the community. We have folks from wildlife conservation, physicians, and people in the business sectors.
During these tough times with budget cuts across the country due to COVID-19, it is harder for students to pinpoint what career they want to pursue. Providing students with the right exposure to workers face-to-face may be the key in showing a possible direction for them to take in the future.
What I like to tell young people is it's just as important to try and figure out what you don't want to do as compared to what you want to do. In fact, it's probably easier to figure out what you don't want to do, because there are things that you don't like to do. If there are skills that you don't use, or habits or practices that you're not comfortable doing, then that job's not good for you. You're not going to be happy. Yeah. So one of the things I always tell young people is that the first thing that they should do is, like you say, gain exposure. So they can talk to people and learn what they do, learn about different jobs. But then you really need to sit back and think about your skills, what you like to do, what do you do when you have nothing, what do you do when you have time off, and try to find a job that matches the skills that you're using.
With this career day being a huge success, the hope is that students will be even more successful in the near future. For BronxNet, this is Kyrie Moody.
And thank you, Carrie. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We want you to stay with us. We've got more show as Open continues right after this.